What is up, Nerds Nation? Welcome to the Effin' Nerds podcast with the most dynamic duo in all of podcasting. I'm Nick Denizio, and sitting across from me is my dude, Martin Moreno.
Christmas time.
Christmas time.
Holiday season.
That it is. We got a brand new episode from the Effin' Collection for you guys. But before we get started, if you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe and give this video a thumbs up. And if you're listening on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or anywhere else, please check back each week as we try to upload new content for you guys to listen to. So since we are in the holiday season, I figured we kind of pick a Christmas movie up off the shelf and landed on Trading Places.
I mean, it's not like an official Christmas movie, but it takes time during Christmas.
It does take time, yeah. It kind of spans between like Thanksgiving to like New Year's.
Wait, does it really span over a month?
Yeah, it spans over a month.
Really? Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, which we're definitely gonna get into that.
Okay.
But so work the Google on the internet machine. So let's dive in here. So in Trading Places, we have a snobbish investor and a wily street con artist who find their positions reversed as part of a bet by two callous millionaires. The film was directed by John Landis and written by Timothy Harris and Herschel Weingrod, and stars Eddie Murphy, Dan Aykroyd, Ralph Bellamy, Don Aimich, Denholm Elliott, and Jamie Lee Curtis. The film was released on June 8th, 1983, and was a critical and commercial success, grossing $90 million in the U.S., which, if you adjust for inflation, ends up to be around like $240 million. Martin, do you know what the number one movie was in 1983?
Oh my god. Whew. You like caught me off guard as I was swallowing the beer. I'm just gonna Return of the Jedi?
Yes.
Yeah.
Boom.
I mean, that's pretty much an obvious one. Right?
Oh, good for you.
Return of the Jedi. But Trading Places was good enough to be... the nerd is coming out. Trading Places was good enough to be number 4 that year in the overall domestic box office. And it is also certified fresh from Rotten Tomatoes with a score of 88% and has an audience score of 85%. The movie also received an Academy Award nomination for Elmer Bernstein's original score. Over the years, Trading Places has received a ton of praise and has been called one of the funniest American comedies to come out of the 1980s, along with being listed as one of the best Christmas films of all time by a number of publications like Entertainment Weekly, Empire, and Time Out. So there you have it.
All magazines that you hate.
All magazines that I hate. Basically. I like Empire. I'm a fan of Empire.
All right. But those covers are trash.
Covers are trash.
They need to get better, like Photoshoppers,
I know.
graphic people, because majority of the time those Empire covers are trash.
Yeah, sometimes they have good ones. Like the Suicide Squad was good.
Yeah, but for the most part, it's like bad Photoshop.
I know. Yeah, it's really bad Photoshop. But the most notable thing about Trading Places' legacy is that the movie holds its place in altering American trading. In 2010, as part of the Wall Street Transparency and Accountability Act, which was to regulate financial markets, a rule was included which barred anyone from using secret inside information to corner markets, similar to what the Duke brothers do in the movie. Since the movie was inspired by this rule, it has since been known as the Eddie Murphy rule, which kind of blows my mind that, that was basically, I guess not like allowed, but, that you could do like insider trading, and kind of...
I mean, it's still going on now. Like, think about the NFL.
I know.
There's like insider like trading players. Like, what's the one Eagles player who went to the Browns or something that got like suspended for a while?
Well, that happens all the time too, right? You get some of these players that get like banned for whatever.
For like insider selling the playbook or something. Yep. But so you're saying that sort of insider trading was known as the Eddie Murphy rule?
Yes. And in 2010, that's when they finally made that rule. That what the Duke brothers do in terms of like getting inside information to kind of corner the market, like now you can't do that anymore.
So up to this point, is it still considered like the Eddie Murphy rule? Or
that's
no?
I mean that's what the traders know it as they call it, the Eddie Murphy rule. That's the unofficial title.
Awesome.
Yeah,
that's
pretty cool. So Martin, with Trading Places, what was your first experience with it?
My first experience with Trading Places. Okay, so this is interesting because do you remember the movie Metro?
Of course.
Okay, so I have not seen that movie in a long time.
It's not.
But it's not great.
It's not great.
No, but from what I recall, they swore a lot in that movie. From what I recall,
that they did.
And I remember because we had like the premium channels growing up, and obviously we watched like Dr. Dolittle, we watched like The Professor. So I really liked Eddie Murphy, so we wanted to watch like more Eddie Murphy movies. And I remember we watched Metro, and my mom was like, "Turn this off," because of all the swearing.
A lot of swearing, and I also think I forget who else is in that, but I think somebody else is noble that's in that dies like really early on.
And I can't remember. You haven't seen the movie in so
I know it's been a
long.
while.
But so then the same thing. So then my mom was kind of like very cautious when it came to other Eddie Murphy movies. Yeah. And then Trading Places came around, and all the swearing that happened early on. And she was like, "No, turn this off." So I watched this movie like secretly, like throughout the years, throughout like my young years, like every now and then.
Yeah.
And I watched it as like a whole, like much later down the road when I was like in high school. So as like a whole, I experienced it like around when I was like a sophomore in high school.
Yeah.
But I like Forbidden Fruit. I secretly would watch it every now and then, and obviously I would turn to like Baby Yoda whenever I saw the boobs, because there's a lot of boobs.
There's a lot of boobs in this movie,
especially in the first act. So like I'd be like, look at all the boobs.
I mean, I'm kind of the same way. Like it was just, and I've said it before on the podcast that I grew up on a steady diet of Eddie Murphy comedies, and this was one of them. I had this on VHS, and it was one of those movies that like. I don't know why, but I always like fell asleep like watching movies a lot. Like I would always throw a movie on as I was going to bed, and this was like one of them. So it's like anytime like I hear the opening Mozart theme, like I automatically think of Trading Places, no matter where I hear that piece of music from, because that's just like it's like ingrained in my head.
See, that's funny because whenever I hear that music, I think of Stardust.
Oh, true,
That's playing when Robert De Niro's like doing his like dress up number in his cabin or whatever in his quarters. So I always think of like Robert De Niro dancing around like playing with that thing. So
that's amazing.
Yeah, so it's not engraved in my mind like it is for you.
Yeah. But yeah, so in rewatching this movie, I try to watch this like at least once a year just because like I love it so much. But there's obviously so many different characters and so many great actors that play these characters. So I know this one's gonna be tough, but who is like your boom for this movie, and who is your bust?
See, my boom is like, it has to be either Eddie Murphy or Dan Aykroyd. It has to be either one. I love the character of Louis Winthrop.
Yes.
The third. I love his character because just because even though he's kind of like he's very snobbish or whatever, he's also in a way kind of very honorable. Like he's like, I haven't sold anything in my life, and he's like constantly trying to prove his innocence.
Right.
But just his sort of like snobbish tendencies kind of drove everyone away.
Well, I was gonna say he plays like the uppity like waspy type like so well, like with his voice and how he talks and just how he presents himself.
Gentlemen, looking good, Louis. Feeling good, Todd.
We need a fourth for squash today, Louis. Are you interested?
No can do. I'll be having dinner with Penelope tonight.
Oh, lucky you.
It's not luck. Todd?
Like you're just like, I don't like this guy. Like you're just like, this is not what I'm about. But like I said, in a way, he's also kind of like very honest and honorable. So I do like his character a lot. But then again, Eddie Murphy's just so good. And then just like, I think a big moment in the movie for his character is the party scene. Because he's coming out. He wants to be like a big, like, big dick Eddie Murphy out here, Mr. Hotshot, talking about his limo and all his money and everything.
Got all his money, I love that scene at the bar where he's like just launching bills at the bartender.
Champagnes for everyone. He's out here just like flexing hard. But then all the freeloaders come over. He's like, you know what? Nah. He's like, I'm not about this. Like, get the fuck out. So I there's a lot of tendencies about these characters that are in a way are like kind of like despicable. And if you think about his like con man ways, of Eddie Murphy's con man ways,
right?
But at the same time, in their own kind of right, they are kind of honorable and sort of noble, so to speak. So I do like them both a lot. But I'm probably just gonna go with Eddie Murphy because I feel like I'm gonna laugh more. I'm gonna share more stories, and we're probably gonna crack up more. And he's got money, so he's gonna pay for the tab.
Right.
So he's gonna pay for when all the people at the bar who were like drinking for free. That's gonna be me. So
right. Well, that's the thing too. Is like with Eddie Murphy, this was only like his second film. And when he got cast in this, like his first movie was 48 Hours with Nick Nolte. And when he got cast in this, 48 Hours hadn't even come out yet. So most of the people that were like recommending him like didn't know who he was. Like John Landis had no idea who Eddie Murphy was when it was recommended to him. So and you can just tell, man, when Eddie Murphy comes in, he like this whole movie, he's like a firecracker, man. He's just like
his cadence.
He's so fucking good.
He's the way he funny. Like his cadence and his quip and the way he kind of like delivers, like, you Barry White looking ass motherfucker. Yeah. Like, the way he delivers his lines and just and like I said, it's very it's just hilarious.
Yeah.
And just cracks you up, and just like from like you said, from the second he comes on screen pretending to be a cripple, it's just like it like
it's so good.
Yeah,
it's so good. But that's the thing too, is like for only being like this his second movie, and I guess like it's also a tribute to him doing SNL. I think he got an SNL when he was like 18 years old, which is also like insane. But like he has like this confidence on screen, you know what I mean? And like for like a young actor, especially like having like this as being like only your second movie, like it's also like really I guess like remarkable that he's able to like project like just that level. Like he's a pro. Like it feels like he's a pro in this movie. Like you don't see any like weakness in like his acting, and his comedy timing is always top notch. And yeah, man, that's why he's Eddie Murphy.
Exactly, he's a stud.
And yeah, also props to Dan Aykroyd too, who's just absolutely hysterical in this movie. Just so many different scenes of him trying to accommodate to not having money anymore is just like hilarious, like the whole like fish out of water kind of thing. And And also too, man, Jamie Lee Curtis is fantastic in this.
Oh yeah,
like watching it again, like she's really fucking good.
Yeah, and her accent.
Hi, Louie. Merry Christmas. Louie. Louie, when you get out, I have a big surprise for you.
Yes, yeah.
Louie,
Louie,
her New York accent that she, or there's like northern accent that she puts on because Sixfields in Philly, but
yeah,
she kind of has that kind of like New York rowdy street vibe to her.
Right,
you know,
right.
So.
And even though she's kind of playing a character that's become kind of, it's not so much a trope anymore, but it used to be a trope, like that hooker with the heart of gold kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like
Pretty
she's,
Woman.
Yeah, Pretty Woman. Yeah, you know, just she's there for the best intentions, but you know, but before this, she really like had only done like horror, and I think the studio was like nervous to cast her because she was, you know, basically just doing horror movies at that point.
She was like a scream queen.
Yeah, she was like a scream queen, and it was John Landis that really like fought for her. And you know, when she gets on screen, man, she just shows the type of comedic timing that she has, and yeah, man, I feel like that this really like launched her career like going forward.
Not just that, but like pretty much standing out amongst these like sort of heavy hitters.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, definitely held her own, and she's great in this.
Absolutely. Do you have a bust in this movie? Do you have somebody that really like just didn't work for you?
Probably his fiance.
Oh, Penelope.
Penelope, yeah. She's the worst.
She's the worst.
You look awful. I'm so ashamed. Those clothes and those shoes and you've been fighting it. And you smell.
But not necessarily. It's not her fault in a way. It's kind of just more the fact of like it's those people like, you know, like, oh, you don't have money, or like it's like
yes,
who like the clout chasers, I guess, in a way, you know. Like,
well, that's the thing too, because as soon as Winthrop gets like, you know, he gets arrested and loses everything, like she just immediately moves on to Todd.
But at the same time, I'll kind of give her credit because she there was like the moment when they're like on the steps outside the prison.
Oh, true.
And she's about to like forgive him,
like
she's
embrace him. Yeah.
She's like, okay, I understand. Like, and then in comes
Ophelia,
and that's like that's like the breaking point. She's like, you know what? No, but then you're right. Yeah, she immediately goes to Todd.
She
and like
shacks up with Todd real quick.
Yeah, real fucking quick. And when he comes asking for help at the country club, she's like, no, like get away from me. So probably her. If not, then it's definitely what's his name, Beeks.
Oh yeah. Clarence Beeks.
Clarence Beeks.
Yeah, not necessarily because not because like I didn't like the guy, but he was like the main antagonist of the film in a way. So
yes, and it's played by Paul Gleason, who kind of always played those types of roles. Like obviously he was the principal in Breakfast Club.
I was right about to say yeah.
And then he was the lieutenant in Die Hard, another Christmas classic.
This is Deputy Chief of Police Dwayne T. Robinson, and I am in charge of this situation.
Oh, you're in charge. Well, I got some bad news for you, Dwayne. From up here, it doesn't look like you're in charge of jack shit.
You listen to me, you little asshole.
Asshole? I'm not the one who just got butt-fucked on national TV, Dwayne.
So yeah, probably either Penelope or Beeks. I would have to say.
Penelope or Beeks, yeah. I mean, I really don't have like a bust in this. I think, you know, everyone plays their characters how they're supposed to be played. Everyone I think is great in this movie, and yeah,
it's more. That's what I said. It's more like the villain role.
Yeah,
like, he's like the antagonist, so I'm gonna just kind of
right
say like fuck, because he's trying to like literally ruin these two characters that we really like. He's trying to kind of ruin their life. So it's like, you know what, fuck this guy.
Right.
You know, for that reason.
All right, so I guess we can kind of jump into like what our favorite scenes are. So I have a bunch listed here because there's a lot of great ones. So the first one is I Can See, which is basically the scene where Valentine gets exposed as a con man by the cops, and then he basically gets chased through like that whole country club.
Is there a problem, officers?
Then I have Valentine when he's in the jail cell, which also features a cameo from a very young Giancarlo Esposito. I don't know if you caught that.
Who was he?
He's one of the guys in the jail cell when he's Valentine's telling his whole karate story.
Oh, really?
He's the guy that's kind of like up against the jail cell.
No, I didn't notice that,
Giancarlo Esposito. And then after that, we got Winthrop getting basically framed for stealing, and then him getting booked, which also features another cameo from Frank Oz, who voices Yoda.
Yeah, and he kind of plays. He always plays this like sitting down. Like I feel like every single time Frank Oz kind of cameos, I feel like he's always like sitting in like a sitting position.
Yeah.
With like an overlook camera.
Yes.
Like I just like, but I did know that one. I did catch.
Yeah, that one knows. Well, it's funny too because he's also in Blues Brothers, which is directed by John Landis, and I think he also plays a cop in that too. If I'm not mistaken.
And also more recently, Knives Out.
Yes.
When it's like
that's right.
It's
yeah,
like
he's like the.
It's the same energy.
Yes.
He always has like the same energy. Love Frank Oz. But Yes. Are you going? Oh, keep going.
Yeah. I'm gonna keep going here. So then after that, we have Valentine's kind of first night out after getting all this money, and then he has the party at the house, and then we also have the famous train scene where they try to pull a fast one on Beeks and make the switch for the crop report, and then obviously at the very end we have the big trading scene.
Right.
So out of all those, Martin, which one stands out to you?
It has to be either when he's in prison, when Billy Ray is in prison, either that one.
Yeah.
Because I just love I love, like we said, his comedy, his confidence, his cadence, the way like he's firing off the two big dudes that we talking about, like, oh, my limo, like the phone in my limo was broken.
Busted. And I can't get in contact with my bitches.
Exactly. And then, but like you said, he's confident because they're calling him out. He's like, look, man, I told you.
Yeah. Man, I still walking in here like a man, so get out of my face, all right? I mean, you beating up on a man, you putting a man in the hospital. How come I don't see no marks on you? Yeah. Because I'm a karate man, all right? Karate man bruise on the inside. They don't show their weaknesses. But you don't know that because you're a big Barry White-looking motherfucker. Now get off my back, all right?
But he's like doubling down on his bullshit, and he's just selling it, hoping that these other people will buy it. And then lo and behold, it eventually comes true when he confronts him again at the club.
Right.
He's like, well, as a matter of fact, my limo driver was actually right outside. Also, low-key MVP Coleman.
Coleman, yeah.
I gotta love Coleman.
Bro, Denholm Elliott, who was also in Indiana Jones.
Yes, I feel like those there's something about those like butler, like when you think
like
of like
supporting butler roles,
yeah,
kind of
like Mr. Deeds. When you think about like, oh, he was like snobby, like kind of like someone who's like in the family kind of name, company, whatever, like snobby. Always like he was always seen with like snobby people.
Yes.
And then comes this like out of character type of person in his life, and it's like, and it shines like a whole new light. Think of him like I said, the guy from Mr. Deeds, or like Carl from like Billy Madison.
Oh yeah.
It's like those types of characters that you just like that you gravitate towards.
Yeah, and I also love when he's I guess it's like more towards the beginning when he's like kind of making that dessert for Penelope and Winthorpe, and then he gets the phone call from the Dukes, I guess, who basically tell him like what's about to happen. And he hangs up the phone, he just goes,
What a scumbag.
Exactly, and that's what he has to deal with the whole time. So, and then with a weird like young Asian wife, which we will get into towards the end. But yes, it has to be either the prison scene, like I said, or the party scene. I fucking love the party scene. For starters, great music.
Yes.
And like I said, it kind of shows. This is kind of like the first time that we see a sort of dynamic shift in Billy Ray's character.
Yeah, it's where he starts to turn and kind of embrace now this new life that he has.
Yeah, and almost like responsibility, like in a way, because at this point, like he comes from a broken home,
right,
from the ghetto. But yeah, like he gets like all this money, everything kind of happens, and then he goes into the club, starts, like we said, starts flexing, throwing money all over the place. But the second people come over, and he realizes they're kind of freeloaders, and they're like kind of not taking care of his shit.
Right. Haven't you people ever heard of coasters?
Yeah, like exactly. Yeah. Like, so we first see sort of like dynamic shift in his character, and that's why I really like that scene. So it probably has to be for me the party scine.
The party scene, okay.
Yeah, and also because like me being a little kid, I was like, look at the poop.
Yeah, look at the which there are a lot in that scene.
Oh yeah.
I've been waiting for you, Billy Ray.
Put your clothes on to get out of here.
There's definitely a lot in that scene. But yeah, I mean, but there's just so many like I feel like a lot, like especially when the movie like really gets going, like it's just like nonstop, and some of the scenes aren't even like out there like funny, like it's not like you're like gut busting laughs, but it's just like it's well written, it's very, very well done, very well acted.
I feel like the first like 2 acts of the film are very strong.
Yeah.
The third act gets like bonkers.
It does get bonkers, which is probably why one of my favorite scenes is that train scene where they're all trying to pull a fast one on
that's like
Beeks.
That's pretty much when everything kind of that's when the bonkers shift starts.
Yeah, that's when you kind of get into like the screwball comedy aspect, because you have Al Franken and I forget the other dude that play kind of like the baggage handlers.
Who are just like stoned and weird.
Just stoned the entire time.
They're there for just for like
comedic purposes.
Exactly. And just kind of move the sort of like plot forward.
You got Jim Belushi, who's dressed up as like the gorilla, who's just running around the whole time, just causing havoc.
Yeah, and it's like, why the fuck is there a gorilla on this train? Like, it doesn't make any sense.
Well, for whatever reason, they're having a costume party on the train on New Year's Eve, which is weird that there's a New Year's Eve party on a train.
Yeah, and not just that, but it's a New Year's costume party.
Party on a train.
And then the guy's dressed as a gorilla. Coincidentally, there's a fucking gorilla
on the train.
Like an actual gorilla. It's just like, I remember watching that for the first time. I was like, wait, what is going on?
Right.
I was like, is there I'm like, we're still New Year's, right? I'm like, why are they having a costume party? It's really weird. And then why is there this fucking gorilla? Like, it was strange.
You know what's weird about that though is because like watching it as a kid, I just bought it. I'm like, yeah, sure. There's a gorilla on the train. There's also a guy in a gorilla costume.
I also saw it when I was a little bit older.
Yeah.
And I think if I saw it as a kid, I probably would just like you said,
you just buy into everything. Like, you don't question it.
It's hilarious, and there's boobs.
Right.
So it's like it's awesome.
The main takeaway: there's boobs.
There is boobs. Cute Yoda gif. Yeah. But yeah, it was so strange. But yeah, I do love that scene, and also it just goes to show how Beaks just doesn't care.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't really recognize him at first.
Right.
So to him, everything's like done in rearview mirror. So when he first comes in, you would imagine that if he actually somewhat cared, he would have recognized him.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But I like that too because that's kind of where like all like the major actors kind of like flex their comedic chops between Eddie Murphy, Dan Aykroyd, Jamie Lee Curtis, and Denholm Elliott. Like they're all
struggling.
I know, dude. This beer is like killing me right now.
Yeah, I put it away. I'm like, oof. I chucked it down, and I'm just like, I'm trying to keep it together.
Right. But they're all just hilarious in that scene, and they all bring something like new. Like when each one comes in, and you just see the look on Beaks' face, like where the fuck am I right now?
What is happening? It's like another one, and again when she like puts her tits in his face, and because Beaks being a scumbag, he's like, okay,
all right, I'll help you out.
Everyone else is like, get the fuck out. But then we get this like hot chick that comes in. He's like, all right, you know what? She can stay.
You can stay.
You can stay, and I'll help you out with your stuff.
Please to help me with my rucksack?
Oh yeah, sure, why not?
I also do love the very end scene with the whole trading aspect. Like even though like it can be a little confusing to like really like know what's going on here.
To this day, I have no idea what happened. I don't really get it.
If I can try. So it's like the Dukes were trying to short the market. Right.
So, yeah. Because I also kind of read up on it too. Yes. And I was trying to understand, and I kind of get it, but I don't.
Right. So it's like the Dukes were trying to short the market. So Valentine Winthrop basically give them phony reports. The phony reports basically said we're driving the price up because I think they expected the oranges to be affected by the winter harvest.
The report, from what I read, the report that they got, the fake one, was stating that the oranges are not good.
Yes, that they're going to be affected by the winter.
Right, so they were trying to see, but that doesn't make sense because if they know it's not good, why are they trying to buy? Because they're going to sell lower. It's like he says. Remember, he's like buy low, sell high.
Right.
But they were kind of doing the opposite. If it's going to be, if they
wait, are you saying Valentine was trying to do the opposite? Valentine
because
or the Dukes were?
The Dukes, they got the report saying that it was bad. They got the fake report saying that it was bad. Look at us trying to break down.
I know, trying to break down this shit, yeah.
They got the fake report saying the oranges were going to be bad. So then why are you trying to buy up if you know that it's bad?
I think because they might have already, I think they already had so many people that were possibly already invested in the orange market that they were basically just trying to drive the price up more and more because so many people were invested in it. And then I guess when the report came out saying that it was bad.
No, well, the actual report
said that it was good, but I'm also a little hazy on it as well. But I just knew that Winthrop and Valentine were basically just trying to drive the price up so that when the report came out, when it dropped, they would basically buy everyone's bad things.
No, they were selling it because no one wanted it anymore. Everyone bought high, so now everyone was trying to just like pretty much get rid of it.
Okay.
We might be confusing ourselves.
I'm still confused on this. Yeah, I was coming in here thinking that I was gonna be able to break this down and be like, oh, I fucking know this shit, and I was like, after talking about I don't know this.
I understand Billy Ray's and
Winthrop.
I understand their whole notion because essentially what they sold, like all the contracts, they sold it at like at a higher price when it's like kind of so they essentially bought more stocks.
Right.
You know, they got like all these kind of like penny stocks, so to speak, but I'm still not really 100% sure.
All I know is the Dukes lost all their money.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, because they were just like, so they were buying everything, but that's the only one thing that I didn't really get. It's like, why? Because they told us a guy's named Wilson, like their floor dude. It's like, why would you tell him
to sell?
Yeah, why would you tell him to buy in the beginning? What it does cause is that it causes everyone else to buy.
Yeah.
So it almost like you said, it launched the price up. So, but if the report that they got, if they thought that the report was real, then it was only going to like pretty much crash the second they found out that it's not good.
Right.
So that's where I was like a little hazy.
Yeah, I know. It's also a great scene too when the Dukes lose all their money and they just start freaking out.
Oh, I fucking love that scene when it's Mortimer and who's the other
Randolph.
Dude? Randolph, when he starts like having like
a heart attack.
It's like, is your brother okay?
Mortimer, your brother's not well.
Mortimer, your brother's not well. We better call an ambulance.
Fuck him! Now you listen to me. I want trading reopened right now. Get those brokers back in here. Turn those machines back on. Turn those machines back on.
You know what's crazy too is apparently Don Amish, who plays that role, hated cursing. Like he was not comfortable cursing at all, and he's the one that drops like the N-word, the hard N-word in this movie too. And apparently so apparently after that he like was apologizing to like everybody on set. He was apologizing to the crew, apologized to Eddie Murphy after he said the N-word. Like he was just constantly like, it reminded me a lot of DiCaprio in Django Unchained, because he was also very uncomfortable with saying the N-word as well. Like he's like, I'm not cool with this.
Well, a Tarantino movie, it's a guarantee.
It's a guarantee, but I think Sam Jackson was also like, stop being a pussy and just say it.
And if Sam Jackson tells you,
it's like, all right, okay.
All right, I might as well. Like,
I'll get a free pass.
I get the pass.
But so those are some really great scenes. Obviously, there's also just some really great moments. Like I love when Thorpe is trying to hawk his watch in the pawn shop. There's a nice little just dynamic. I love when he's describing like what the watch is, and he's trying to sell it to this guy, and he's like,
it's hot.
No. This is a Rochefoucauld, the thinnest water-resistant watch in the world. Singularly unique, sculptured in design, handcrafted in Switzerland, and water-resistant to 3 atmospheres. This is the sports watch of the 80s. $6,955 retail.
You got a receipt?
No, it tells time simultaneously in Monte Carlo, Beverly Hills, London, Paris, Rome, and Stade.
In Philadelphia, it's worth $50.
This watch is hot.
It burnt my fingers, man.
You know what? Only because I'm weird, I'm going to look up the stocks.
You're going to look up the trading stocks?
What should I Google? How did they become rich?
I think it's also on Wikipedia, too. Like, if you go on Wikipedia, it actually describes, like, the ending.
Why don't you explain this to me like I'm 5?
Okay, so then the fake report says the crop was bad.
Yes.
Okay? The Duke brothers seized this and believed the price of OJ. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, so
here we are.
Less oranges means that so if there's less oranges, that means orange juice is going to be more valuable.
Yes.
Because there's only so much oranges to make orange juice from. Look at us. Dude,
I feel like this is like one of my other favorite scenes in the movie is when Valentine's going to explain to what commodities brokers are.
Now, what are commodities? Commodities are agricultural products, like coffee that you had for breakfast, wheat, which is used to make bread, pork bellies, which is used to make bacon, which you might find in a bacon and lettuce and tomato sandwich.
Yeah, so we're gonna hit Wall Street after this.
Yeah.
So they got the report that the oranges were bad.
Right.
So they thought, okay, it's gonna make OJ more valuable. So buy. But in regards, when in actuality, the orange was really good, which doesn't make OJ that much valuable because there's so many fucking oranges.
Yes.
So then everyone's just trying to get rid of it because they know it's not that valuable.
Right.
And since they bought low, they essentially sold really high.
Right.
Because when it was all done, it was like 29 cents.
Yes.
And they sold it like at $1.42.
Right.
So they sold it almost like what, fucking 5 times?
Basically, yeah.
Okay, we get it now.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah, it's there. It's there. See
it.
that? We worked it out on the podcast, and now we know.
Bro.
Now we're going to make so much fucking money.
Put me on Wall Street now.
I'll sell orange juice. All right, so moving on to one of my favorite questions. Who would you want to have a beer with? Out of all the characters in this movie, man, who would you want to have a beer with? And it could be one of the big actors. It could be one of the minor actors. Like, there's so many different people.
Wait, we don't do actors, though. We normally do characters.
Well, that's what I mean, characters.
Yeah. You said actors.
Oh, I said actors. Well, I meant characters, because there's so many great actors that play small parts in this movie. So, you know. Who would you pick, Martin? Who would you pick?
The gorilla. Just kidding.
The gorilla.
Probably Eddie Murphy.
Probably Eddie Murphy?
Probably Billy Ray. Just like I said before, get Billy Ray fresh off prison.
Right.
Let's go off. Let's go to the bars, get some drinks. He's gonna pay for everything, and then we can just have a laugh. He can crack me up. He can tell me some good stories. Like if we talk about like Louis, like he's kind of boring.
Yeah.
You know, it's like I don't really.
No, we need Louis when he doesn't have all of his money.
Yeah, you know, so I'm not trying to like do all this shit, or maybe Ophelia kind of get her backstory.
Yeah. Yeah. Ophelia could be a good one.
Yeah, maybe get a whole backstory of like where, because she mentions a little bit how she came from this little town that no one's heard of. So yeah, I mean, I feel like I would be uncomfortable at a drink date with the Duke brothers. Like that's just not me. Like that's not my scene. I'm like even like when I'm not gonna get into that. But yeah, I would not be like I don't think that would be for me. So I'll probably just say Billy Ray.
Billy Ray?
Yeah.
Okay. Bro, give me Barry White and Mr. Yeah.
Oh, the two prison dudes?
The two prison dudes, man.
Oh my
yeah,
God.
absolutely.
Well, they were drinking there.
They were drinking there. Mm-hmm. And like, it kind of reminds me of like Parker and Brett from Alien. It's like, these are two like blue collar guys. They've served some time, probably got all kinds of stories. And maybe, honestly, man, they look like they have a good time when they go out drinking. So give me those guys, man.
True, but they don't. But you know, you won't be able to rack up a high ass tab.
It's very true. Yeah, I'm gonna have to pay for everything. I might have to pay for their drinks too.
Yeah, because you're not gonna be like, oh, I gotta go to the bathroom. They're both gonna bail on you, and they're gonna leave you with the fucking tab.
That's exactly what's gonna happen. You know what? Wild card though, Coleman. I feel like Coleman might be fun.
Coleman might be fun because he's like your coworker that you talk shit about.
How about your boss?
Yeah,
with you?
Yeah. So like, you're gonna go to him and he's gonna vent, be like, I gotta wait on these two fucking douchebags, these scumbag people, these rich folks that I hate. I'm just trying to save enough money to get the fuck out. You know, it's gonna be like one big vent fest.
Yes.
And you're gonna be like, you know what? Cheers to that, bro. And you're just gonna like enjoy your drink. So definitely, I would not mind grabbing a drink with Coleman.
Absolutely. All right, so in watching Trading Places, Martin, where does Trading Places kind of rank in, I guess, the pantheon of comedies, but also maybe Christmas films? Maybe where does it rank for you in terms of Eddie Murphy's movies?
In terms of Eddie Murphy movies, it's definitely up there. Because we also have to keep in mind that like he took a huge he disappeared for a while.
Yeah.
So you want to talk about maybe like 20 years, like in total, maybe like 25 to 30 years, if that.
You talking about in terms of like his career?
Yeah, in terms of like his filmography. So like I mean, he just came back with Dolomite Is My Name, which was incredible. Mm-hmm. I really loved that, and I really loved seeing him come back. But like his early 2000 comedies, like just didn't have that. I don't think it had that kind of like magic.
It didn't. I don't know what happened. It just got like he had some really bad movies like between like Pluto Nash and
but even though I don't hate Bowfinger, again I haven't seen that movie in a long time.
Oh, see, I like Bowfinger.
Yeah, I haven't seen that movie in a while, but it's like those movies I just kind of felt like more kind of just like tempered down. I also want to say like it's also signs of the times that we're changing, so maybe there were certain things that he could get away with in like the 80s, early 90s.
It's very possible
that maybe we're a little bit more sensitive to touch up on.
Actually, you know what's funny? Bowfinger was directed by Frank Oz.
Really?
Yeah,
that's great.
Yeah.
The one scene that always fucking gets me is like when they're remember when they're like, we need a film crew, so they go to like the fucking border and they open the van and everyone's just like,
my god, dude!
And everyone's just like running into the van. And like they close and they take off.
Dude, I honestly think Bowfinger's underrated. There's a lot of funny moments in that movie.
Obviously, also Crossing the Highway.
Yeah, Crossing the Highway. Yep.
That's a good one. But what was the movie when he was was it Bowfinger? Or he's like, I think Two Drops of Pee came out when they're doing like the big chase.
It might have been that.
And they're like, and he's the one dude's like on the car.
Yes.
I'm not sure if that's both. Yeah, but
oh no, I think it was Showtime. Was that Showtime?
It was Showtime.
It was Showtime.
Yep. Showtime. Yes. See that one too. It's like
Showtime's not good.
It just like I just felt like he just like
he did there was Showtime with De Niro. He did I Spy with Owen Wilson, which wasn't good. And then before he kind of went away.
And that was Famke Janssen, right?
Yeah, Famke Janssen. Yeah. But he had like, do you remember? He got in like this string of just really bad comedies. Like he did like Norbit, which sucked. Meet Dave. I don't know if you remember. Do you remember Meet Dave?
I don't think so.
He was like it was almost like they were all like aliens, and he was inside like a robotic version of himself.
I remember the cover.
Yes,
I remember the film cover. Yeah.
Yes.
Norbit was just him trying to kind of
recapture that. Like Nutty Professor kind of vibe.
Professor magic. But yeah, that was just something about even like his sequels I did, like Nutty Professor 2, like I did not like.
Yeah, it wasn't good.
So I don't know. I just saw like his not just him, because I think he always did good, but I just think his movies in general just lost like certain like edge and magic to them.
Yeah, I mean this could also be a critique on comedy in general, because I feel like that, you know, a lot of the movies that he did in like the 80s and even into like the 90s that were considered good. Because, you know, he's always been an actor that's had like a string of hits and then a string of bombs and then a string of hits and then a string of bombs. So it's like it's kind of like a bit of a roller coaster with his career. And I don't know if it's just that like the writers changed for comedy and the type of directing changed, and he just didn't pick like the right projects, and I'm not sure. I don't know what really like what caused like a lot of different things. I know there were a lot of moments where he tried to take a lot of creative control over stuff, and that's kind of where things went a little wonky. You know what I mean? So I think it could have been a little bit of that as well.
Probably. I mean, I think Pluto Nash, he funded most of it.
Yeah, and Pluto Nash, I think, was one of the biggest bombs of all time.
Yeah, because no one wanted to make it, and rightfully so, and it fucking bombed. But I also do think, I would definitely put this up towards like in this top tier films, up there with like Beverly Hills Cop, with Night Professor, with Dolomite Is My Name, more recently, and and in terms of Christmas movies. See, I don't know. It's weird because I can't really name that many Christmas movies off the top of my head. I
would say, like, I know, like, for my top Christmas movies, I usually gravitate towards the ones that are like off-kilter Christmas movies. Like, they're not so much like the Santa Claus or Elf, even though I love those movies. But yeah, they kind of like take place
during Christmas time.
And maybe they have some sort of Christmas thing as part of the plot. You know what I mean? But that's kind of like where I kind of gravitate towards when it comes
Batman
to
Returns.
holiday. Yeah, Batman Returns,
Shazam,
Lethal Weapon, Shazam, Scrooged.
Scrooge is good. Lethal Weapon's a good one too. Obviously, like Home Alone, which is like the main one.
Main one, yeah.
I don't know. You know what? For now, I'm just to play it safe because I'm just thinking of like the handfuls that we just kind of named.
Yeah.
I would probably give the slight edge to.
Okay.
So I'd probably put this either like towards the bottom of the top tier or like very top of middle tier.
Of middle tier?
Yeah.
Okay. And in terms of like Eddie Murphy movies, do you have like a favorite like Eddie Murphy, like a clear cut, like this is my favorite?
God. See, I love the first Dr. Dolittle only for like nostalgic reasons because just growing up. And even I caught it recently, like maybe 2 or 3 years ago, and I was like, oh, I fucking love this movie.
Yeah.
And his wife was a smoke show in that movie. It has to be between Beverly Hills Cop. I'll probably say between Beverly Hills Cop or like Dr. Dolittle.
Dr. Dolittle?
Only because like of just what it meant to me growing up.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is funny because I never would have expected you to say Dr. Dolittle.
Yeah, it's not the greatest, but I just remember like I watched that movie so much when I was like younger, and I wanted to watch more Eddie Murphy movies, but my parents fucking wouldn't let me. I was like, no, we saw Mad. Like, nope.
Because of Metro, you can't watch anymore.
Metro, that shitty movie.
Have you ever seen Life with him and Martin Lawrence, where they go to prison?
See, the thing is, bro, is like. It sounds so familiar.
Yeah.
But like the second I saw like the trailer or some like stills from it, I'd be like, yes.
Yeah.
But I couldn't pull it right now.
It's definitely a good one. It's I think it's one of the ones that's really underrated in his filmography. But like I know for me, I think Coming to America might be my all-time favorite Eddie Murphy movie, and Trading Places is either number 2 or number 3, either in front of Beverly Hills Cop or behind it, depending on
the thing is, like, I have Coming to America right here, and I wasn't even thinking of that.
Yeah,
I was too obsessed thinking of
Dr. Dolittle,
the fucking tiger. I also love animals too.
Yeah.
So I remember just like I was like, oh, that would be the greatest power in the world to talk to animals. Actually, yeah. So I'd put Coming to, Martin, get over yourself.
You must be out of your goddamn mind.
Coming to America is definitely. I would put Coming to America over fucking Dr. Dolittle. Yeah. So I would say like Beverly Hills. I think that's like your trifecta: Trading Places, Beverly Hills Cop, and Coming to America. Like, and that's what I'm saying. It has like that. Those movies just have that edge.
It's the edge. Yep.
It is. It's like, and I think maybe
it's like unfiltered, uncensored. It's unapologetic of the jokes it tells and what it's trying to be.
That's where he like even like Dolomite Is My Name is like that.
Yeah.
It doesn't give a fuck.
Yes.
It just kind of comes out, puts it all on the table, like you said, unapologetic, uncensored. So I think when he's in that sort of environment, that atmosphere, is when he really like excels. I think maybe over certain time years, maybe shit might have gotten too sensitive to, especially nowadays, like we were talking about. This movie Trading Places would get ripped apart.
Bro.
Nowadays.
You know what? I actually do really want to jump into that because we were talking about this a little bit before. Like when this movie came out, obviously it's when you watch it now, especially, it's definitely a product of its time. But if you were looking at it today under the lens of 2020 and, you know,
in today's world,
and woke culture and PC culture and
people out here trying to cancel Kindergarten Cop.
I know people are trying to cancel Kindergarten Cop, bro. You think Trading Places is going to do well? And like, and as I was watching this, I had that in the back of my head because, you know, and even though I do watch this movie frequently, I don't know why I completely forgot this, but I'm watching it. I'm like, they, you know, obviously like there's a lot of shit with, Jamie Lee Curtis's character, and then, you know, there's a lot of cursing, and obviously like they dropped the N-word a couple times, so it's like, all right, it's bad, but it's not that bad. And then I thought about it, I was like, holy shit, I completely forgot Dan Aykroyd does blackface in this.
Yeah, pretty much.
And I was like, what the fuck?
And pulls off like a really intense accent.
Yes.
Not to mention that like you throw beaks in the cage with a gorilla, and the gorilla like fucks him.
Right, exactly. Exactly. It's like, oh, okay, now we're getting there, which is why I think you said that like the third the third act of this movie just goes bonkers.
It doesn't care.
It gets screwball comedy aspect,
and
you know?
and the use of the N-word is in such a like a it's like in a really like derogatory.
Oh, it's a really hateful way, for sure.
So,
really hateful way.
So yeah, nowadays I think this movie would get like ripped apart. So I think a lot of it has to do with that. It's just how I think because even like you fast forward like 10 years later, like
in like the 90s.
Yeah, like in the 90s, because like even then, like in the 90s, you had like your parody films,
right?
Like a lot of like we were talking about like Hot Shots, Airplane, a lot of like Leslie Nielsen films, Charlie Sheen movies. But those were bonkers all the way through.
Yes.
Like it knew what it was, and it fully exploited.
Didn't take itself seriously, which was literally meant to make fun of other movies.
Yeah, and then this one kind of falls a little bit into that camp, like in the third act. Mm-hmm. But in the beginning, it's like a very well constructed, very like well made movie.
Right, like it's going to be strange to say this, but it's like, especially for like, I guess because it's comedy, because comedy can be over the top, like you said, like with the parody movies, and even like we're getting to like you know, closer to our time with like Anchorman and things like that, where it's just so over the top, but it's funny. Mm-hmm. But like Trading Places was like a real movie. It felt like it was a real movie with real characters, and it felt grounded. And
yeah, it was very well made. It was like very well constructed. Like you said, it's flushed out very well. So once we get into like the whole thing with like Meeks in that room. Beeks, I'm sorry.
Beeks, yeah.
Beeks in that room, in the little train room with all these like weird characters. Like it's just like you can just like tell like this is kind of ridiculous.
It's over the top for sure.
Yeah, you know, and the fact that it's like it's playing along.
Yeah,
it kind of falls like, okay, yeah, you know, we know it's ridiculous. We know we have these two baggage claim clowns that are just for community purposes. Jim Belushi's got a gorilla costume, like coincidentally.
Right, coincidentally,
we have a fucking gorilla that we're like
that's getting transported
to Africa. Like none of it kind of like makes sense, but it's just like, all right, like whatever, you just kind of buy into it. So I wonder if this movie came out just like 10 years later, I wonder if maybe it would have like
it definitely would have been different because like I said, like when this comes out, it's rooted in its time. And you know, it's funny too, because like the movie is still pretty relevant in its themes of like, you know, greed and kind of like your
the
different classes and things like that. Yeah, exactly. And I also wonder too, because, you know, it brings up the case of nature versus nurture and like the type of environments that you grow up in. And it could be seen, I guess, as problematic as saying in the end, money solves all your problems. You know what I mean? But like, I feel like that's kind of where the fantastical element of it comes from, because like, you know, that's kind of why like I really like this movie, because I think it does touch on a lot of real world issues and stuff that's still very relevant today. But obviously it knows that it's a comedy and it's not trying to teach you something. You know, it wants to be, at the end of the day, it wants to entertain you, it wants to make you laugh. So that's why like maybe towards the end it gets a little bit over the top, and that's what makes it like really fun. And then obviously the end, they, you know, put the Dukes out, they get all the money and they're chilling on the island, and that's how the movie ends. So it's like it's a fantasy, you know what I mean?
But for me, those first two acts work so much better.
Yeah.
I think like when you're like I remember like when I first saw it, I was like really engaged. And I was like, I'm really into this, and then like it just kind of goes bonkers. But overall, I still really, really enjoy the movie, and it's definitely one that just imagine like if this movie came out today and just a still of the blackface was released.
Oh my god,
the movie gets shut down automatically.
Oh, it was shut down automatically,
or be changed.
Right,
you know, it's
right.
Like, it's fucking crazy.
And it's like you know, not that I want to make a comment on the use of doing blackface, obviously, because you know. It's not something that I would recommend doing. You know what I mean? But like if you look at it in the context of the movie, obviously, you know. They're going into this boxcar. You know, Beeks knows who they are. You know, he knows who Winthorpe looks like. So obviously, what's the best disguise he could come up with? And it's like in the context of the movie, it's like, all right, like I'll roll with this a little bit.
Not the greatest idea.
Not the greatest idea, but it's like
time,
at the time,
it was like, you know,
yeah. So it could be seen as problematic, but it's still, you know, between, you know, and this also just, I think it works for me because it's the dynamic between Dan Aykroyd and Eddie Murphy. Like when they finally do team up at the end, they make for such a great pair, and I think they play off each other so well. Mm-hmm. So when you get to that scene and they're just kind of going back and forth with one another, it's funny. You know what I mean? Like it's funny and it's entertaining.
Yeah, I also love the moment where they're going into the market,
and he's trying to hype up Eddie Murphy.
Yeah, he's telling him
it's either kill or be killed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Think big, think positive. Never show any sign of weakness. Always go for the throat. Buy low, sell high. Fear, that's the other guy's problem. Nothing you have ever experienced can prepare you for the unbridled carnage you're about to witness. Right. Super Bowl, the World Series, they don't know what pressure is. In this building, it's either kill or be killed. Right. You make no friends in the pits and you take no prisoners. No prisoners. 1 minute, you're up $500,000 in soybeans, and the next, boom, your kids don't go to college and they've repossessed your Bentley. Are you with me?
Yeah, we gotta kill him, motherfucker! We gotta kill him!
So yeah, it's a great dynamic between them, between all the characters, and I obviously just love the turnout between him and Ophelia. They end up like being together. And
yes,
yeah. So yeah, great characters, great movie, and I really enjoy it.
Yeah, you know what too? I also got like a little nostalgic too, seeing the World Trade Center in this, because this is one of those movies I think that like the World Trade Center is almost like a very prominent character, you know, in the movie. You know, because like you get some movies that dealt with New York like in the past, and like the World Trade Center is like that one building that was always featured just because it was just it's the World Trade Center.
Because it was always a skyline.
It was always the skyline.
And you always just saw it. And
you always saw it.
It always it does always hit. Every single time I see the World Trade Center in movies, it does always hit. It just kind of has that impact. But yeah, but it's like we said. So for the most part, whenever you get those like old school films, it's a skyline shot.
Yeah.
But this is different. You're like in there.
You're in there,
and you get that really great shot of like looking up.
Yeah.
So it's almost like a ground level shot.
Yeah.
And it's what you would do like walking by. I still do that now whenever I walk by
the Freedom Tower.
When I walk by, I always kind of like stop and I just look up. You can't help but just like especially having some familiarity with architecture as well.
Right.
You kind of can't help but to just kind of stop and just look up and just stare at it.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know, maybe appreciate it, but definitely just like stare at it and kind of just take it in.
You're kind of like in awe of it. You know,
you're just like,
this grand building.
It's like this massive fucking building, and you just kind of like get immersed in a little bit of the history and everything that was there and blah blah. And this is a whole nother story that we're getting into. But yeah, whenever I do see the Freedom Tower, and fuck it, like I went to architecture school. I'm always trying to be so coy, but okay, I went to architecture school, and like obviously like learning so much about it.
You appreciate it.
Yeah, like you learn so much about obviously like construction and all that stuff, and then when you learn about the World Trade Center and how it was built and this type of structure and everything, it's like it always puts like a different it just kind of puts like a different view on it from your
perspective.
Yeah. So just kind of like in a way, sort of like always checking out architecture everywhere you go. It does kind of whenever I see it, I'm just like, oh, I would have loved to like me now with like my knowledge and kind of and my sort of understanding of everything that I've learned. I would love to like be there and just admire it and be inside and check it out and take it in. So yeah, it is. Every single time I see it obviously because of what happened, obviously, but just like but for those reasons alone too, just of like I wish I experienced it.
I know, absolutely, man, absolutely. So yes, just to reiterate, for me, like I absolutely love this movie. In terms of comedies, it's probably in my top 10. Just because of the fact that I did grow up with it and I've been watching it for so many years, and it's never gotten dull to me. It's never lost its edge. It's always funny. I always laugh at all the same scenes. And
yeah, this was my first time watching it in almost like a couple of years.
Yeah,
I want to say maybe like 4 or 5 years is when I last saw it. And yeah, I'm just like, and like I said, those first 2 acts, I'm just like, this movie's so good. Like you're just like definitely like engaged and like sucked in there, and you're just like taking it on, and it's a really great film.
Definitely. All right, so we're gonna get into some effing facts about the movie. We've been kind of talking a little bit about how this movie was very big for a lot of different actors in their careers. Obviously for Eddie Murphy, it was only his second film, but this was kind of like his very big breakout. For Don Ameche, who plays I forget if it's Randolph or Mortimer, which one he plays. Why am I
Don Ameche plays Mortimer.
He plays Mortimer, yes.
Yeah,
yes.
What's his face? Bellamy.
Yeah, Ralph Bellamy plays.
Ralph Bellamy plays
Randolph.
Randolph. Yes.
Randolph Duke. But yeah, so Don Ameche, he actually was not acting for like the longest time before he got cast in this movie. And so much so that director John Landis thought he was dead. He's like, is Don Ameche dead? When they were trying to cast him, which is fucked up. But this movie kind of revived his career because after this, he went on to star in, remember the movie Cocoon?
Yes.
With Wilford Brimley?
Yes.
Yeah. So Don Ameche won Best Supporting Actor for Cocoon.
Really?
Yeah, he won the Academy Award for that.
That's funny because when we were talking about Wilford Brimley not too long
when he passed away,
talking about, I'm like, oh my god, I forgot about Cocoon, and I actually went back and watched a little bit of it.
Oh, you did?
Yeah,
nice.
just like YouTube clips. And
right.
Stuff
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, talking about a blast from the past.
I know. Yeah, definitely. That's definitely a blast from the past. And then for Dan Aykroyd, this was a much needed hit for him. I think he had like a string of bombs leading up to this. But then after this, he went on to do Ghostbusters and Spies Like Us. So it was kind of a nice career boost for him. And then obviously we talked about Jamie Lee Curtis, how the studio was very nervous about casting her since she had only done horror movies. But this really like kickstarted her career. Obviously she went on to do other comedies like A Fish Called Wanda. And then eventually...
I fucking love
A Fish Called Wanda. Dude, so good.
I love A Fish Called Wanda so much. It's a great film.
It's a great movie.
Yeah.
And then obviously one of our favorites, True Lies. Which, even though it's an action movie, she's hilarious in it.
She's so good. Yeah, she's so good. We definitely have to do it. I want to do like an Arnie marathon.
No, we're definitely going to do an Arnie marathon.
And just do like a discussion of all the Arnie movies.
Yes, we will definitely do that. And then moving on, for this film, it was originally called Black and White, and it was going to star Gene Wilder and Richard Pryor. When Richard Pryor had to drop out, Eddie Murphy came aboard, and he wanted Gene Wilder replaced because Eddie Murphy didn't want to be compared to Richard Pryor, which was interesting.
I would think because maybe... Because Gene Wilder, bro, I mean, you're talking about like fucking in the 80s.
Yeah, like
you're talking about like icon.
Yeah.
Like I would imagine that, like you said, like kind of like an up and newcomer. You kind of don't want to go up
like ruffle feathers like that.
Yeah, and it's kind of might be a little like intimidating.
Right.
You know, also age difference too.
Right.
So yeah, that's interesting. But
I think they made the right call though, because like even though Gene Wilder is, Gene Wilder's great. Like I love, like Gene Wilder's like an absolute icon, like you said. But for this, like seeing Dan Aykroyd in this role, like I can't see anybody else playing him.
I think a big thing for me, just me personally, I think it's the age difference.
Yeah.
I think since they're both kind of like around the same sort of age, they can kind of relate to each other a little bit more, and they kind of like these are like just two friends who like in a way kind of have like a background,
right,
like a history with one another.
Yeah.
So I think if you would have had like when you think of the Dukes, these two much older gentlemen, or even like Coleman,
right?
Who's like you can just tell like these guys have like experience.
Yes.
Like they've been around it for a long time.
Right.
And I like the fact of like because he even talked about how Louis Winthrop could like in how he can like you put him anywhere and he'll survive.
He'll survive. Yeah.
So I like this kind of like the whole notion of like a up and coming hotshot young sort of like investor. So I think definitely in my opinion definitely plays better.
Yeah, it was the right choice for sure.
Yeah, in an alternate world, if we ever see like once we start learn how to jump realms,
go to the multiverse.
Yeah, and we go to like Earth Earth 16. And we see the Eddie Murphy and Gene Wilder. Then
Trading places,
then we'll make another with Dan Aykroyd and Charlie and Chocolate Factory.
Wow, dude!
Like a little.
Oh my god!
No, it's not Charlie. It's
Willy. Yeah, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
Yes.
Yeah,
Charlie and Chocolate Factory is the Tim Burton version. Yeah.
Right. But yeah, once we get there,
dude, that's like in Last Action Hero with Arnold Schwarzenegger, where he goes in the video store and it's Sylvester Stallone that plays the Terminator.
Yes.
Terminator 2. Yeah. Oh, I gotta watch that movie. I love Last Action Hero.
That movie so much.
I found this one absolutely hilarious. So apparently in Italy, every year since 1997, this channel Italia 1 broadcasts Trading Places on Christmas Eve every night.
Like why? Because what's her face? Penelope. She's like a Norwegian actress, I believe. Yeah. So like I was thinking maybe
I don't know what it is with the I guess Italians just love Trading Places.
I guess so.
I mean, I love Trading Places. So
yeah.
There you go.
So I mean, there it is.
There it is.
Yeah, sure.
Obviously, in this movie, there's a lot of like improv. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of really funny scenes that come out of just like what happens on the day that they were filming. One of them being the scene where Mortimer catches the money clip. He kind of gets the money clip tossed to him, and you can tell that he's just like fumbling it, and eventually catches it. Yeah.
So I remember when I first saw it, I'm like, wait, was that real?
Is that really?
It was definitely like you can tell how genuine it was.
Yeah, and then obviously Eddie Murphy does a lot of improv in this movie, and then I didn't realize this, but apparently like for Ophelia when she's wearing her disguise at the end in the train scene, I think like originally Jamie Lee Curtis was supposed to do an Austrian accent, but she couldn't do it, so she did a Swedish accent instead, but she was dressed like an Austrian. So that's why, like, I don't know if that exchange between Coleman where he's like, but you're wearing lederhosen, I don't know if that was all improv, which if it was, that's phenomenal. Well, that's great improv, you know what I mean?
I think it was very on the nose.
Yes.
So I think they were like pretty much like, okay, this is what the script calls for. We can't change it, and you can't do it, so fuck it. We're just gonna go with it.
We're gonna go with this,
So we're just kind of, we're pretty much gonna get ahead of it.
Change it up a little bit.
Yeah, we're gonna get ahead of it. Like, yeah, you're saying you're from Sweden, but you're clearly wearing Austria garb, so we're just kind of gonna get in front of it and make like a little jab about it.
Yeah, definitely.
Let me see now. You would be from Austria, am I right?
No, I am Inga from Sweden.
Sweden? But you're wearing lederhosen.
Yeah, for sure, from Sweden.
The Westin Hotel, which is located in Philadelphia, has a restaurant named Winthrop and Valentine, named after the two characters of the movie.
Bro, if you're an icon in a Philadelphia movie, you're gonna live on forever.
You live on forever, man.
Rocky statue,
yeah.
like fucking, you have your own restaurant. It's wild.
Yeah, it's so cool. I actually want to go there and eat now. And then the other thing too was this would probably be more for people that are actually interested in like stock trading and doing all that, what the movie deals with. But the fact that like you see at the end of the movie them doing their trading on the floor and how chaotic it is, and everyone's trying to buy and sell with all these little pieces of paper. Obviously nowadays they don't do that anymore. It's all done on computers, so there's no need for that
digital era, bro.
That kind of trading, which I mean, even for me, like not having that much of an interest in like stocks and all that kind of stuff, like I do love that scene, and I love how, like I said, just how chaotic it is. And it's just like that just feels like very,
how do you even keep up?
I don't know, but that just feels very like New York to me, like that scene.
It's that energy.
Yeah, that energy.
Yeah,
yeah.
It also reminds you like Wolf of Wall Street.
Yes,
you know?
yes.
Let's fuck.
Exactly. The other thing too, the opening, which we didn't really talk about. I do love the opening titles, just because like I love how it kind of really just gets you in like the mood, just that contrast between like like rich and poor, and like how it just cross cuts between like Winthrop living in his nice cozy, getting breakfast in bed, and he's got all this money, and then you're like flashing to people like homeless on the street and things like that. It's cold.
You can tell it's cold, yeah.
Definitely. But the music that's playing is Mozart's Marriage of Figaro, which is translates, I guess, to like the Day of Madness. So that's a nice little setup to the whole
of what's going to happen.
The whole day of what's going to happen. Yeah. Exactly. And the other thing too was we didn't talk about this either. This movie does, and it got nominated for Academy Award. This movie does have a really pretty good original score. And that's the thing with comedies, man. Comedies usually don't have original scores. They usually just pull like kind of like music from like either the era that they're in or whatever's popular at the time. So I always
this did that too.
It did that too a little bit, but like for the main part, like its main thing is like it has an original score, and I do appreciate when comedies actually have their own specific score to their
Who's
movie.
the composer?
The guy's name is, I have this in my notes. Where is it? Elmer Bernstein.
Elmer Bernstein.
I have no idea who that is, but he did a good job.
That's a very familiar name, though. I feel Elmer Bernstein.
Elmer Bernstein.
I feel like I definitely heard that somewhere.
Yeah.
But yeah, because like when we said the party at the house, also the party in the train.
Right.
Like they have like they pull some music there. So yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, definitely.
It's very interesting.
And then finally, the theme of a rich person and a poor person kind of exchanging positions comes from the Mark Twain novel The Prince and the Pauper, which I think was a big influence on this movie.
Cool.
I know, just an interesting effing fact. Effing fact. Martin, anything else you want to say on Trading Places before we close this out?
No, not really. Definitely, I definitely enjoy this movie. It's a lot of fun, and I don't watch it as often as you do.
Yeah.
But every time I've gone back and revisited, which hasn't been that much to be honest. I think maybe my whole life I've seen this movie whole.
Yeah.
Maybe like no more than 5 times.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't go like I said. I revisited for the first time like almost 5 years, and then I literally saw it like as a whole like maybe 13 years ago.
Yeah.
Something like that. So yeah, it's a fun movie. Great. Great characters, great dynamic, lots of laughs, and definitely one to check out if you haven't.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say too, like does this hold up for you? Like from being a comedy from the '80s.
I think the first 2 acts definitely do.
Yeah,
I think the first 2 acts like I know we've said this over and over again, but like the third act just gets so bonkers that nowadays, like obviously being older, like if I was younger, probably not, but being older, you're just like, how do you not realize what's going on in that train?
Right. Yeah.
Like, how? Like, really?
Yeah.
And then we said, and then like everything, like it's that
right.
notion alone.
It's almost because the movie's so smart, like leading up to that, to the point when you get to that, it's like, how does Beeks not know that this is like, like there's some fuckery going on. You know?
Can make the argument that like to him everything's a business.
Yeah.
Just like one and done. He's like, I did my job, so now I don't even care about it anymore.
Right.
So like, he puts everything in like his rearview mirror. So I think you could make the argument as to why he didn't recognize Billy Ray, but like just the whole thing, it's just like a parody. It's just
it is,
bonkers.
it gets crazy.
Yeah, look, the whole thing with like the party in the train and like the 2 guys, like it's like whatever.
Yeah.
But it's like we were saying, the movie itself is like a very well-made movie, very smart in its own respect. So once it kind of hits that gear, it gets a little bonkers.
Yeah.
But overall, I still really do enjoy it, and I still think, I still think it holds up for those 2 first acts alone because it still gets some like really good laughs. You're still very invested, you're still very engaged, and still like, and it's these characters are great characters.
Yeah. No, I would echo that 100% because I think why this movie holds up so well is because of the characters.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously mainly Eddie Murphy and Dan Aykroyd. They're phenomenal in this movie. Both are equally hilarious, and yeah, man, it's one of my all-time favorites. I try to watch it usually around this time of year is when I usually try to revisit it, and gets me into the holiday spirit. For as fucked up as the movie is at points, but but yeah. So all right, Nerds Nation, that does it for us. Have you guys seen Trading Places? Do you love it? Do you hate it? Let us know. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for listening. Remember to like this video and subscribe to our YouTube page. And remember, you can follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and anywhere else where you can see that big, beautiful FN logo. Anything else you want to say to the nation, Martin?
No, we're going to try to do another one before Christmas comes out.
Yeah.
But that's a tall order.
That's a tall order, but we're going to try.
We're going to try.
We're definitely going to try.
But if we don't, then Merry Christmas, everyone.
Yep.
Happy New Year's. If we don't see you before then, who knows? Happy holidays. I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah.
Merry New Year.
Merry New Year.
That's another like fucking racist moment. He's like, in this country, we
yes,
say
that is. Oh my God.
We say Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. This country, we say Happy New Year.
Like, wow, you piece of shit.
Piece of shit.
But
yes, Merry New Year to all.
Merry New Year's and Happy Christmas.
Happy Christmas
to everyone. And yeah, go check out Trading Places if you haven't. It's a gem.
Definitely. All right, guys. With that, we will catch you on the next one.
Bye.